What are my views or opinions about the Jazz DVX40 $20 Biglots special? Well, I'd have to say all in all, it's not all too bad. You do get what you pay for. However, I will say that this camera is a couple miles ahead of my Aptec DV5100 model camera that I bought in 2006, which cost me $70. And talk about being bent over. I mean, the quality was terrible on it. Basically, it was very fuzzy and the sound was god-awful on it. You can barely hear anything. What I've noticed with my type of cam, which is a palm recorder version type cam, is that the normal focal length seems to be a little bit closer. If I was to compare it, I would say this is more like maybe a 90mm instead of a 50mm if you're going to compare it to like an SLR camera. So it seems a little close. Shooting modes are 640 by 480 or 320 by 240, and you have your power settings for viewing on TV for different countries like 50 and 60 hertz. There's no stabilizing on this camera, and the audio is uncompressed wave, which is really nice. However, what I don't like about the sound is that if you start to talk kind of loud, at first you get this like scratching, kind of like thump scratch that I can easily correct through my restoration software, so it's not too bad. But the sound quality is pretty decent on here. There is a bit of a stuttering lag when you pan, as you can probably tell from here. The effect is a little bit more noticeable when you're closer to a subject, but you still can kind of see it's kind of like a motion kind of lag. That's very evident with cheap cameras. Okay, now I'm going to walk. As I said, there's no stabilizing, and one thing that I really felt bad about with this camera, and of course I say you do get what you pay for, is that the CMOS sensor is a POS, and that the CMOS wobble that you get when moving is variable. It's not uniform throughout the frame. I had it measured, and I was not able to use my deshaker through Virtual Dub at all. It actually makes the video a lot worse, so I would not recommend it. If you can, try to have a steady hand and use a tripod if at all possible with these type of cameras, or any kind of camera that's kind of cheap. The zoom on this model is 4x, 4 times zoom, but it's, even with a good camera, it's better not to use zoom and to do zoom in post-production, because then you're working with an image instead of a small sensor to actually do the zooming in. But there's a problem that I noticed the day after I bought this camera, and I didn't notice it the day I purchased it, is that when I zoom, you can kind of hear a whistling sound and another sound which basically appears that the camera is fapping about, and I don't know why that is happening. It's probably cheap electronics, and it didn't really surface until a day or so later. And what's kind of terrible is that the jigga 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 sound and the whistling sounds do not stop even if you zoom back all the way out to normal viewing or previewing. You have to shut the recording off and restart it, and able to eliminate that and to stop it. There are people who play with these cameras, and they kind of have the question, well, how come when you move and pan everything gets distorted and all wobbly like with the CMOS wobble? In a CMOS type arrangement or sensor, your frame is not being recorded full frame. The frame gets scanned from the top bottom fashion, and so if you move and the frame has not been drawn out, you will get distortion. As in the case of a CCD image sensor, each frame is recorded all at once. so you don't get that type of distortion. You can think of it as kind of the CMOS shutter being akin to a focal plane shutter in a SLR camera, and a CCD sensor would be kind of like a leaf shutter in an SLR camera. Well, the camera does have still picture mode, and it's pretty decent. It's typical of what you would find in these type of cameras. There is an HD version of this cam. If you are really into HD, I would not recommend you getting a Jazz HD camera, because it's not going to be what you think it is. A flip is a hell of a lot better than a Jazz HD. There's some of the same abnormalities and quirks in the HD versions as there are in the regular versions, such as the movement lag, CMOS wobble, defocus issues, except you have somewhat of a better image as far as colors and stuff like that, and maybe a little bit of detail. But you know, if you don't mind, and you just, you know, taking occasional videos and you don't really care too much for, you know, true HD quality, and you have 50 or 60 bucks to blow, yeah, go ahead. It's still kind of cheap when you look at it. I mean, you're not going to be shooting any Steven Spielberg movies with it, but it should be fine. I also recommend that you purchase Sanyo Eneloops, Kodak versions of an Eneloop, because these little cameras do suck power. In some cases you can have battery power last for about 30 minutes most, 30 minutes max, and that's not good. With Eneloops you can extend your time a lot longer. To give you an example, I'm not really sure of this camera because I haven't tested it out. With the flip camera, with alkalines or standard rechargeables, I get like about maybe 30-35 minutes on it per charge. But with Sanyo Eneloops I get about 2 hours and 5 minutes with those type of batteries, the low discharge batteries. Low self-discharge, they're called, LSD batteries. You can get a 4-pack of AA's or AAA's for $10. They're pretty cheap, and they'll last about 1,500 cycles. So, and they're also good too, because you can store them away for about a good year and they'll lose like maybe about 5% charge. So they hold their charges really good, and they're good for high drain devices. I highly prefer Sanyo Eneloops. Now I just took a shot into macro mode to give you an idea what it's like. Although you should have good steady support, because if you're kind of close anyways, and you shake, even the littlest amount of shake is going to be amplified. Yeah, I'd also like to make the note too that the file format for these videos are MJPEG, so they'll be able to be used pretty smoothly in any video editor. So MJPEG, AVI, and uncompressed wave. Woo, woo. Yeah, one other thing I don't like is that this viewfinder does not rotate at all, so that you can position yourself and see yourself, because as I've said before, that it's really a bitch to frame yourself, because the lens makes things a little bit closer for some reason. It's like it's in telephoto or something initially. I don't have my tripod with me because I'm a lazy ass, but all in all, the camera's not too bad. I mean, if it breaks, I can always replace it. It's not a big deal. I don't have my tripod with me because I'm a lazy ass, but all in all, the camera's not too bad. I mean, if it breaks, I can always replace it. It's not a big deal. The reason why I got it was because a friend of mine got one, and I wanted something just to play around with and just to have fun and to get away from doing HD, the personal stuff, because my computer cannot work with HD fluently or smoothly, and it's really a pain in the ass. It really is. And this will be a fun break for me. As far as correcting the video distortions, it's going to be kind of difficult to do because the distortions are just not uniform enough, and it just doesn't come out right. Everything, the image that comes out after being shaken, pops in and out, defocuses and everything else. It's terrible. Like the gruff, huh? Yeah. I'm just going to let myself go to hell. I don't care anymore. I'm just going to let it all grow out. My hair, and my facial hair, and I'm going to grow my hair all the way down to my ass. Hell with it. I don't have anybody to look good for, so that's alright. Well, thank you for watching this little description about the camera.